Howdy, y'all. It's Curious Raven on this beautiful Tuesday with some more ghostly stories. Hope everybody is doing good this week. We are busy at my house putting up a lot of Christmas decorations. I really love Christmas. Now let's get to these stories. Number 1. A friend called me today, November 1st, to let me know what happened to him yesterday on Halloween. Thought it was a little spooky. My friend is in Colorado for a work assignment and has been sick with a cold while there. For context, we both live in Texas. I am currently in Texas. On his way into a store yesterday to pick up some cold medicine, he claims to have seen me, or someone who looked just like me walking by him 5 feet away. He pauses, shouts my name. The doppelganger continues to walk on by without acknowledging my friend. My friend then shouts an apology again with no acknowledgement. Sounds like a case of mistaken identity. A coincidence? My friend calls his wife later on to tell her about what happened. She insists that he calls me too. Basically make sure I'm still alive. Her reasoning was that the veil is thin on Halloween. He basically told him that he has to call to make sure I'm still alive. I am still alive. My friend thinks that he must have just been mistaken or sick enough to hallucinate seeing me in Colorado. It shook him and his wife up, though. After hearing the story, I can't help but wonder about the possibility for something more exciting than mistaken identity, especially if the doppelganger didn't even respond. Would a ghost or hallucination be able to respond? What do y'all think? Finding out about this story was a highlight of my day, so I'd figured I'd share it. Number 2. This morning I was getting my toddler dressed and we heard someone talking out in the living room. My older son was in the kitchen and didn't hear it. My partner is at work, so we definitely shouldn't be hearing him talking. It wasn't my older son talking to himself, but it sounded like a man's voice. My toddler got excited because he thought it was his dad coming home from work. 2 weeks ago, I was laying in bed. My 2-year-old climbed in bed with me at 5:30 a.m. I told him to go get in his bed so I could have a minute to wake up. His bed is next to mine. I was laying on my back when I saw him leave the room instead of going to his bed. I told him not to leave the room. He went to his bed. A couple minutes later, I saw him leave the room. He was wearing his robe, and the door opened. I sat up and said, "Hey, get back here." When I looked over at his bed, he is still in his bed. I was so freaked out. I have a camera in my living room, but I wasn't subscribed to storage. It did pick up movement at both of the times I saw my son leave the room. The day before this, there was a movement in my older son's room. I was home alone, and the cat was on my lap. She even reacted to it. My older son is 10 and says sometimes he's woken up at night to his toys in his toy bin being jostled around. Number 3. A couple months back, I was driving home late at night from work. I can't remember what time, but it was well past 1 a.m. Sure, I was a bit tired, but I have been worse and never seen anything of the sort. I could see a figure in the distance. I saw the head and torso, but it was just a black figure. The road was really dark. My brain instantly thought, well done for crossing while I'm coming at you. So I start slowing down until I'm almost at a complete stop. The moment my headlights hit the figure, it vanishes. My heart drops to my stomach and I feel all the color drain from my face. Mind you, I take this route home every day. At times even later than this, and this has never happened before. I keep thinking my mind was playing tricks on me, but I know what I saw. It was there one moment and gone the next. It was freaky. Number 4. A weird experience with my homemade Ouija board. Note number 1. I'm well aware that the idiometer is, and if this is my subconscious, I would really like to know what all this encrypted speech isn't. I used it alone. Note number 2. I'm not religious in any way, and I don't have any strong stands on the paranormal. Note number 3. Not doing it out of boredom. I have my personal reasons. Not writing this for attention. I just need some insight if anyone's got any. Hi all. I hope you're all and your loved ones are in good health. This is my first time writing here. I'm sorry if this is not appropriate for the particular sub. I am new to this world. I posted in other places, but didn't get any useful insight. And I am still in the same situation, confused along with some other feelings. The 2 first paragraphs I'm going to write on here are the things that happened yesterday. Things I have already shared on other subs. The last will be what happened today. I made a homemade Ouija board a few days ago, but I did not use it right away. I kept decorating it and making it arty or whatever. I think it was just procrastinating using it. Yesterday evening, I began by saying a simple prayer, then I put my hand on the thing. I asked if someone was there. Nothing happened for 2 minutes or so. I kept waiting, and I asked, and at some point it slowly started moving to yes. I asked for the name, and it spelled Amdu, A-M-M-D-U. I looked and I couldn't find anything about that particular name. Then I asked what it was doing here, and it kept spelling the letter A. Then to no. A no? I asked, and it said yes. I asked what that means, and it went to the letter B, and then yes. B, yes. I asked, and it didn't respond anymore, so I asked if we could say goodbye. It didn't respond, so I moved it slowly to goodbye and said goodbye. From here onward, I won't be able to contact any other entity than the one that's talking. I don't know why yet. Later the same evening, I picked up the board again, said my prayer, and began. By the way, I did not ask. From the session onwards, I knew it wasn't the same entity from before, Amdu. It was someone else who would not say what its name was. Whenever I asked, it would spell random stuff. And when I pronounce it and ask if that's what its name was, it would go to the sun, moon. I tried any questions, formulations of them, and it kept responding with different random letter combinations that I couldn't make any sense of. I ended the seance and asked on Reddit, and someone mentioned that not all entities are able to spell. So I went back to the board and asked if it spoke English. It said yes. I asked if it can spell. It said yes. Then I asked if it could tell me the name. It spelled out random stuff and went to the sun, moon. Anyways, I spent some 15 minutes or so talking to it in that random letters way. And finally I figured out that maybe it was using the first letter of each word, because I would sometimes guess a word or a phrase from the random letters it spelled, and it would say yes. At some point, it said turn on the light. Said A, sun, yes. We went back and forth until I asked, do you want me to turn on the lights? It immediately said yes. After this, it kept going to the sun and the moon and saying, I'm sun. You are moon. You are moon, I am sun. I could not get the conversation to go any other direction. It seemed to be really stuck on the sun and moon I drew on the board. Or there was something it wanted to tell me through that. After some time, I started going to the sun and then the moon, then to the spell character G. Sun, moon, G, or moon, sun, G, interchangeably. What does that mean multiple times? And it kept moving faster and faster. Sun, moon, G. Then I figured out it wanted me to guess. because somehow it managed to spell game. A sun, moon, G-A-G-A. I laughed. A-G, sun, moon, G-A-M-E. For a minute or so until it spelled it. So I asked, do you want me to guess? And it said yes. Sun, moon, G. I said moon. It said sun 1, moon 0. And sometimes it would spell out some random letters, then moon, sun, G, and it would go to moon, to sun 2 minutes later or so until it spelled it. And once it went 6, and another time it went 1. I don't remember, and that was all. I forgot to write it down. At some point it asked again, sun, moon, G. I said sun and moon. Silly me. It went aggressively, moon, sun, G. I went to goodbye and said goodbye. Probably a mistake, but I was a bit freaked out. Oh yes. And about the spelling and speaking English, in my first session, before I asked if it spoke or could spell English, I figured maybe it was speaking some other language. So at some point we were talking about the alphabet, and I tried to teach it to spell out some stuff. It seemed to be amused by it. I mostly kept focusing on the moon. It mostly kept focusing on the moon and sun. I showed it how sun, moon are spelled, and it used its own words in its language and told me what it was. Basically, the sun and the moon. That was when I figured it wanted me to turn on the lights in the room. Here, they are. I don't know if it's serious or if it was just playing around. Ano, A-N-O, equals moon. Nin is N-E-N, equals sun. And D, J-I-J, turn light on. Because I had the lights off, and at some point randomly asked if it wanted me to turn the lights on. It said yes. I asked why, and it went sun, moon, no. Beam, turn light off. Today, 2 hours ago, it started as before with a prayer, this time putting more energy towards it than I began. I instantly felt that it was the same one, but I had to ask, so I asked, and it said yes, the sun, moon, G. Really? Question mark. I asked if it was a sun, and it said sun, moon, yes. I asked if it was a moon. It said moon, sun, yes. I asked if it was a moon. It said moon, sun, yes. At some point it said a sun, yes. 0. Then a moon, sun, and then a moon, yes, 1. Another time, a reverse. I would assume it was playing around. Clever me. I decided to ask if it was evil. It went towards yes, and went back to the no. Suspicious. And then a sun, yes. I asked, are you sure? It went a sun, yes, 1. I said, what's your name? And before I could finish the question, it started moving down to goodbye. So I stopped it, and I asked, you don't want to talk? It went quickly to the sun, and then to no, and then proceeded to say goodbye. I said goodbye. That was earlier this evening. I haven't played it again since. I don't know if I should. I probably will. But does anyone have any insight to any of this? I am having a bit of a hard time making sense of it. Update 1. Well, I waited till morning and used it again. Figured maybe it wanted me to talk during the day. And I got the same entity. Would not say anything but moon, sun, G. Some moon, G, a sun, some number, a moon, some number, and then some G. Then it wanted to count down. I did not let it do that. Then it wanted to count up. I didn't let it do that. It then went from sun, moon, G, and proceeded to say goodbye. And I stopped and asked, you don't want to talk? It went to no, and then sun, moon, G, and proceeded to say goodbye. Update 2. Still can't talk to anyone else other than that entity. And I know we're doing figures of 8 horizontally, figure vertically. I almost didn't catch it. It was doing sun, moon, 1, sun, 1, moon, 0. I was like, hold on just a minute. What are you doing? We're not doing that. And it would just go doing it into a different way. M, sun, N, moon. I stopped it and asked, why are you doing that? And it would just go about doing it without landing on anything. I asked, we can say goodbye. It would actually go to goodbye halfway and then moon, N, sun, M. I was like, no. We're not doing that. We're saying goodbye. It went to goodbye and I forced it through, even though it felt like it wanted to move back. Number 5. What started it all is when my mom brought home some old paintings from her work. She works at an old people's house. At an old people's home. So, there's been some dust there. I started noticing at night the house just felt weird. Like something just wrong was going on. This kind of all led up to a night where a piece of Tupperware fell by itself. And then I started hearing white, unintelligible static like voices coming from the kitchen. The Alexa we have was unplugged too, so it couldn't have been that. I told my mom the next day, and since she's pretty spiritual too, we talked about it and suspected it might have been the paintings that she brought in. She threw away the paintings and everything completely went back to normal. I know it all sounds pretty tame, but experiencing it was actually pretty scary. Number 6. Well, it might be a couple of weeks, so I thought I was okay, but it's back. I'm only posting this here since the same person thing is in my dream. I had a dream I was at my friend's, but she lived in a huge apartment with all glass windows. I was walking down a long hallway and saw a man breaking in. So I ran to get a weapon and she said, "Got it." I went to grab something, but when I got to them, they were already standing off. She grabbed lighter fluid and doused him and lit the flame. But before it got to him, he grabbed her. They both started burning. He said he wasn't dying alone. I managed to help her get away and call 911. When I turned around, he was gone. There were pieces of flesh on the floor. They took us both to the hospital. I was looking for her, and she was talking to a caseworker whose face kept shifting. It looked like a normal human, but it couldn't get its face right. It kept shifting from male to female in almost a fluid way. I got angry and asked why they weren't talking to me. He was in pain, and I was the one who saw everything. Person got someone else to come to get me and put me with other burn patients. I don't remember getting burned. Woke up crying. I've actually never seen faces in my dreams until these past 3. I've always known who they were generally supposed to be, but never actually saw the actual faces. I'm afraid to tell my family because I don't want to upset them, and I also don't want them to think I'm completely insane, which is how I'm feeling at the moment. Number 7. When I was growing up, I lived with my grandmother, and we had a dog named Wally. We had him since he was a puppy. He had bad health issues. He ended up passing away in 2017 at 11, and he had very bad diabetes. 4 years went by with absolutely no sign of him anywhere until summer 2021. It was a regular night. Stumbled into the bathroom late at night. The hallway was very dark. I couldn't see. As I was walking just before I reached the bathroom, right outside my grandmother's door, I stepped on something and almost fell over. I didn't see a thing. It was fur. It felt just like a dog. Felt just like his coat. I was freaked out, pulled my foot back, and turned the light switch on. There was absolutely nothing there. I'm still stumped as to what this was. There is no mistaking that I tripped over a dog. Felt the fur on my feet. It was so damn weird. I even felt body heat, as if the thing was living, but there was nothing there. The even more convincing part, this is the same spot that Wally always laid in, right outside my grandmother's door. All right, y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed those 7 stories. I hope y'all have a very good week. I'll see you on Thursday. But remember, until then, it's scary out there. Love y'all so much. Please like and subscribe.
Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross